evening, everyone. I'm Shalini Devi Nageswara Rao, serving as a moderator. Welcome to the conversation today about moral issues raised by the COVID 19 pandemic response, with an emphasis on Indian circumstances. Today, a wide range of experts who have different viewpoints on these crucial issues are joining us. Before I begin, allow me to introduce our panelists. The first panelist is Dineshwari, followed by Vinoshini, Sana, and Nirisha, and Shida in order of appearance. Let's get straight to the first subject. Our first ethical question is that the uncertainty of the actual situation. It revolves around the Indian government's decision to declare victory over the infection disease. Let's hear what the panelists have to say. I would like to invite our first panelist, Tineshwari.
Thank you, Shalini. The government's decision to declare victory early raised concern about transparency and accountability. It may have been more political motivated than a true assessment of the pandemic situation. Restricted public trust and can be lead comparisons. On the other hand, some might argue the government are under tremendous pressure to give their citizens a sense of normalness and hope, balancing the need for optimism and the responsibility for accurate reporting in an ethical challenge.
All right, thank you, Tineshwari. Does anyone have any thoughts on topic A?
Thank you, Shalini, for the clarification. From my point of view, I disagree to the first penalized opinion because I understand the political pressure to declare victory. I strongly disagree with the government decision. The pandemic is far from over, and we are still facing a significant number of cases and deaths daily. This declaration can lead to false sense of security and encourage people to let their guard down, which could result in a resurgence of the virus. As we move into this ethical topic is Indian citizen and religious groups seeking for relaxation of lockdown rules, it's important to recognize that the lockdown measure put in combat the spread of COVID-19 have had significant impact on individuals' lives and livelihood. Many people are struggling financially and the inability to work has left them in precarious position. Similarly, religious events and practices are essential part of many people's lives providing them with a solaces and community during these challenging times. Individuals who wish to return to work and engage in religious practices may prioritize personal and economic interests over public health. This raises question about the balance between individual freedom and collective responsibility during the pandemic. Conversely, you can argue that people have a right to earn living and practice in their religion. Ethical considerations are about finding compromises that protect public health while respecting fundamental rights. Ultimately, the decision about whether to relax lockdown rules for work and religious events will depend on a variety of factors, including the local epidemiological situation, the capacity of healthcare system to cope with an increase in cases, and availability of personnel protective equipment for workers in high-risk settings. This decision will be made transparently and with input from experts in public health and ethics.
All right, thank you to our second panelist. Let's move on the third ethical issue, the Indian government's decision to ban vaccine export and global vaccine shortage. Could you explain the third ethical issue, Sana?
Yes, sure. Thank you to our moderator, Shalini. From the ethical perspective, the government decision can be viewed in two ways. On one hand, the government has a responsibility to prioritize the health and well-being of its citizens. I agree with the government decision by ban vaccine export. The government ensured that there would be enough vaccine available for its population, which is more justified decision. The government also should prioritize the citizen because there is a moral obligation to global cooperation in the face of a pandemic. Finding a balance between national interests and global responsibilities is a complex ethical challenge. On the other hand, the government decision to ban vaccine export may be seen as a violation of global solidarity and cooperation. During a pandemic, it is important for countries to work together to combat the spread of the virus and ensure that everyone has access to life-saving vaccine. By banning export, the Indian government may have contributed to a global vaccine shortage and hinder the effort of country to control the pandemic. Overall, the ethical considerations surrounding the Indian government decision to ban vaccine export are complex and multifaceted. While the government has a responsibility to prioritize the health of its own citizens, it is also important to consider the global impact of such decision and work toward a more equitability distribution of vaccines.
Well explained, Sana, and many thanks. Does anyone disagree with a statement?
I would like to disagree with Sana's statement. I personally think the Indian government shouldn't have banned the vaccine export because they should have thought about other countries too. India is the largest manufacturer of the vaccine production in the world. With the highest amount of population and labor rate, India has the potential to manufacture vaccines in a short period of time. As a solution, India should have discussed this issue with World Health Organization to share vaccine production with potential countries like China and Indonesia.
Let's discuss the vaccine manufacturer decision to terminate the contract as directed by the government of India, and I would like to invite Dineshwari to give explanation about this issue.
Thank you, Shalini. The manufacturer decision to terminate a contract can be seen as a response to the public health crisis aimed at maximize vaccine distribution within the country. However, this raised ethical concerns about the potential for undermining the validity of contracts and trust in business arrangements. Flexibility may be necessary in times of crisis, but such decision must be based on ethical consideration. Manufacturers must balance their contractual obligation with the overarching goals of public health.
Thank you, Dineshwari. Does anyone have any thoughts on this topic?
I agree with Dineshwari's statement maximize vaccine distribution rates within the country. That is why the Indian government raised the contract, but we need to consider the long-term consequence of raising the contract. It may affect future collaboration and partnership with another country. Like Dineshwari said, manufacturer must balance their contractual obligation with the overarching goal of public health.
Thank you for your opinion. The fifth topic is about other countries that have banned the export of raw materials to India in response to the vaccine export ban, and our fifth panelist is Nirusha.
Thank you, Shalini. Reta- Retaliatory measures from other countries are exacerbating global vaccine shortages and undermining collective efforts. This raises ethical question about using trade as leverage during a public health crisis. States have to protect their citizens, but ethical diplomacy should take precedence. Retaliation could undermine collective effort to combat the pandemic and create dangerous cycle of self-interest. The USA is not only nation that has imposed an export ban vaccines or related commodities. The EU has imposed a de facto export ban on vaccines. India too has reportedly reduced its exports of vaccines. This trend as imposing export bans on necessary products for COVID-19 treatment is unfortunate continuation from 2022.
Does anyone agree with a statement?
Yes, I'm completely agree with this statement of Nirosha. The COVID-19 pandemic underscored the importance of balancing national security with ethical construction and diplomatic cooperation. Retaliatory trade measure can establish vaccine shortage, hiring global effort. Ethical diplomatic priorities global community benefits, encourage collaboration resources sharing, and equitable access to vaccinations. This approach fosters a fair, exclusive, and human response to the cases, ensuring a acceptable and equitable global response.
Thank you for your explanation. Now let's look at how similar situation in Malaysia could be dealt with ethically, and I would like to call Shida.
In my opinion, if the same situation happened in Malaysia, the most important thing that government should prioritize is public health. Need to engage with religious leader and community to foster understanding and cooperation in implementing measures that protect public health. About vaccine, prioritize vaccine distribution based on public health need rather than geopolitical consideration to ensure fair and equitable access to vaccine both domestically and internationally. Government need to learn from the situation in India to enhance future pandemic preparedness and response, develop strategy for managing uncertainty and ensuring more resilient healthcare system.
Well explained, Shida. Greetings, panelists. I appreciate your thoughtful thoughts on these difficult moral issues. Unprecedented challenges are presented by COVID-19 pandemic, and resolving these challenges necessitate careful consideration of ethical issues on a national and international level. We hope that this conversation will spark more thought and discussion regarding the moral obligation placed on businesses, governments, and individuals in times of public health emergency. Thank you to all panelists.